Hello there, Simon Hinkle from Tora Kukri. I'm just going to have a bit of a moan actually about handles. People are obsessed, absolutely obsessed with full Tang Kukri handles. Utter nonsense, absolutely utter nonsense. This one here, a World War II full Tang Mark II Kukri. I mean, a good Kukri, don't get me wrong, but like all handle types, they have their problems. And that is, I've had them with the slabs virtually coming off, the slabs have shrunk, the tang has bent, and stuff like that. So stop this obsession with full tang. They're useful, but they're not the ultimate kind of handle to have on a kukri. Definitely not in my opinion anyway. This one from World War One. Again, full tang, it's lasted very well, but one of the common complaints about the full tang handles on kukri are one, that the wood shrinks, which it has done on this one, the metal sticks out, and that would eventually make it very uncomfortable for using over a long period of time, i.e. cutting up wood, cutting through the jungle, stuff like that. So they have their own problems. The other thing about full tang, by the way, is that there's more weight in the handle, which from a kukri point of view is not the ideal scenario. Now, people also go on all the time about how fragile partial tang kukris are. Well, let's look at this, shall we? Here's a partial tang kukri with the original handle, and this is probably from around sort of the mid-19th century. Probably used in the Indian Mutiny, and the original handle is still on it. So I mean, that's over about 170 odd years old. Still got the original handle. Another one from the same time period, typical Gorkhali fighting kukri. Still got the original handle. One from the early 20th century, possibly slightly before, who knows. But again, it's still got the original handle. Beautifully balanced, actually, Nepalese kukri, possibly Indian. But again, this has a partial tang. It has a very old handle. Thank you, Tia, for coming into this conversation. If you don't mind, darling, I'm going to have to just push you off. But it has the original partial tang handle. Pre-World War One, and most likely used in World War One, battalion issue kukri. Now, it's a partial tang kukri, but with a protective butt plate on the end, and that survived battles and all sorts. And it's, you know, still a great kukri to use. I wouldn't hesitate to use it. Interestingly, the soldier that picked it up off the battlefield had a left-handed scabbard made for it, which is quite unique. This one here, World War One to 1930s, almost a partial tang kukri. You could all really, in some ways, refer to it as a partial tang, because all it's got is that little brass stopper there. And this, you know, this has survived quite happily for a long, long time. So please stop going on about full tang being the only option and partial tangs not being secure. There's plenty of evidence they are. Next one, stick tangs. Well, here's an officer's stick tang kukri from World War One era. No problems. It's as solid as a rock. Beautifully made, I might add. Another one. Again, beautifully made. Stick tang. World War One era. Absolutely superb. Solid as a rock. Actually, isn't there a song called Solid as a Rock? I'm not sure. And then we've got the Mark Ones. From this one from World War One, first, second Gurkha rifles, Mark One. Original, no, not the original handle, but the original handle was on it, but it was badly chipped and stuff, so I had it redone. But still, it was there. And that'd been probably through some pretty horrendous stuff. Second 8 Gurkha rifles, Mark 1 from World War One era. Original stick tang handle, still there, still solid, very usable kukri. Stick tang, 5th Gurkha Rifles kukri from World War II. I mean, the 5th Gurkha Rifles served in Burma, Italy, North Africa, and so I don't know exactly where this kukri came from, what particular area of warfare it came from, but it's solid. It's a great kukri to use. I wouldn't hesitate to use it if I wasn't a collector. Stick tang, World War II, 1st, 2nd Gurkha Rifles. Well, they were in North Africa and then in Italy. What an amazing kukri. Stick tang, solid as a rock. I wouldn't hesitate to use this kukri, except that I like to keep them for display and for my collection. HGR kukri, World War II era. Stick tang, what's more, it's got a metal handle, so there's a bit more weight in the handle area, and the stick tang has held out really, really well. Forgot about this one. World War One, Kotli Loharang kukri. They were used a lot by the 8th Gurkha Rifles. Fabulous kukri, beautiful balance. Stick tang, still solid, still very, very usable. So, if the full tang was the bee's knees for kukri, would they not have carried on with it after the Mark IV, which was proved to be not up to use? I mean, they had problems with the slabs on the kukri and all sorts of other things as well, but the slabs shrank. They had to send replacement slabs out for them. So just going back to actually the full tang kukri are not what many people crack them up to be. This one, 1967, stick tang, British service issue kukri, quite a nice little kukri. And you have to wonder, why would the Gurkhas stick with stick tang and not full tang if the stick tang wasn't a good handle type to use? But they did. This one, 1975 issue, British service issue kukri, fabulous little kukri, stick tang. They've stuck with it. Very, very serviceable handles. And don't forget that, just take World War II. I mean, wooden stick tang handles were used in Burma, North Africa, Italy, and no problems on the whole. I mean, obviously with battle damage and use and stuff like that, any handle will fail. But this moaning by some people, oh, I live in the Philippines and wooden handles don't work. Well, actually, I've been to the Philippines and they do use wooden handles out there quite a lot, and they last very well as well, by the way, for that individual. And to go on about horn cracking, well, yeah, wood cracks, horn cracks, but with horn you can glue it back together and still have a pretty serviceable handle. And on the wood, if it cracks, do what the Gurkhas do, wrap string around it. and glue it on. But having said that, all in all, the full Tang Kukri is not the ultimate handle for a kukri. It's very much personal choice, I appreciate that. But personally, I prefer partial and stick Tang Kukri, not full Tang. Because, as I say, I've had them bend, I've had the slabs shrink, I've had, out of all the Mark IIs I've had over the years, and that's quite a lot of Mark IIs and Mark IIIs, I've found many problems with the old kukri with full Tang handles. In fact, I think one of my old forum mates had bought one off me, where the handle was pretty dilapidated, and that was a full Tang Mark II. So please stop this obsession with full Tang handled kukri. By the way, on the back there, there's a couple of kukri, Gallipoli, World War I, stick Tang. Anyway, thank you for watching. I hope I've got my point across without being too aggressive about it, but to be honest with you, I am totally fed up with this obsession. Once again, thank you for watching, stay safe and enjoy your life. Thank you.